NFL for the skill because it's not a particularly skilled sport in comparison to the other sports. There's basically one role in American football that has skill, and that's the quarterback. The other roles is very much so pure physicality.
And they say chivalry is dead. And they say chivalry is dead.
At least compared to other sports. Like if you compare it to football or basketball, it's like not even close. How with what? What? Oh, I didn't punch the bat. I punched the pipe. Does Jenny have no clue what he's talking about? I mean, again, American football fans are going to get triggered here because that's what they do. Americans get triggered when you threaten their favorite sport. But it's just true. I mean, fundamentally, it's just true.
I need healing.
Physicality matters more in American football than skill does. I mean, it's just a quantifiable fact. Like, I mean, I don't know, like, what's the position? Like, is it offensive lineman? Like, where you've got to like hold the opposing's like people back from chasing down your quarterback? Is that what it is?
It's forcing.
We can all learn this guy. Whoa! Oh, come on.
And they say chivalry is dead. And they say chivalry.
Quantify, okay. So let's take the position. What position do you need to be the most physically big for? Like the position that you need to be the strongest for. I don't know. I don't really know American football positions.
And they say chivalry.
Linebacker. So a linebacker. What's linebacker's job? Offensive lineman. So let's say an offensive lineman, I believe, whose job is to protect the quarterback, right? Is that what it is? So their job is to, when someone rushes the quarterback, they effectively grab the streamer and stop them from getting to the quarterback. Now, if you looked at the average size of an NFL offensive lineman, they'll be like a 6'8", 300-pound tank. Okay? Right? That therefore dilutes the pool of people who can play that position. What the fuck? By a significant amount, because not everyone's 6'8". Fuck, bro. Whereas this is the thing with football, is that it kind of doesn't matter what build you are. It is the same in basketball. Like if you play center in basketball, the level of skill required is significantly less than if you play point guard. That's just the way it is. That's why NBA is not as skilled a sport as football. Because you need a certain degree of physicality to even make the NBA in the first place. You can't make the NBA if you're 5'9". There's been like 5 players in history who are 5'9" who are relevant in the NBA history. But if you're born 6'8" with crazy genes and strength, you don't need like your average offensive lineman is nowhere near as skilled as your average football player. That's just the way it is. And that's the case for most positions in American football versus football. Isn't true? Okay. That's your opinion.
And they say chivalry is dead. And they say chivalry is dead.
Let's just say that the average, like the way it is like, what's the most popular hero in OW? Let's say Tracer, because Tracer's a good example, right? It's like saying, is your average Tracer player more skilled than your average Bastion player? Because Bastion's a really unpopular hero. Well, yeah, because the pool of Tracer players is so much bigger that on average, you're going to get more skilled people. Now, obviously, this analogy falls apart because there's no physical requirement to play Overwatch.
And they say chivalry is dead.
But the sports that are skill-based and there's sports that are like physicality based, like athletic based. NFL is one of the most athletically based sports in the world. It's just not a particularly skilled sport. Not in comparison to football, golf, you know, snooker, sports like that. Because you can't put all your time, like even Overwatch is a more skilled sport than American football. Which is going to trigger a lot of people. Chat, look how fucking triggered the chat's getting. But it's true. That guy got fucking rolled.
Hold on, I give him daddy.
Green Eagle's irrelevant. It's true though. Again, if a sport takes zero physicality to play, then the amount of skill required to play it is almost always going to be higher. Oh, that guy nearly got rolled again. Define skill, well that's when you get into a whole different bag of worms. Because would you consider like an Olympic sprinter like skilled? Like Olympic weightlifter? Yeah, of course there's skill to it. But it's not like it's a very, very hard thing to define. Like I would never consider an Olympic sprinter as skilled as an archer. You know? If that makes sense.
Score 0-1.
It's yeah, maybe 2 billion. Yeah, I think it's 2 billion is probably a close enough estimate. I think. It's just like, well, this is where the argument gets muddy. That's the question of like, what defines skill? What defines RNG? That's more of a philosophical debate. Not their sports are being physical or have incredible skill. Sure, I agree. But if you look at someone like, let's say, Steph Curry getting to the top of his field versus Shaq getting to the top of his, no one's going to make the argument that Shaq's as skilled as Steph. Because if Shaq wasn't 7'1" with like a massive fucking body, he wouldn't be in the NBA. But if Steph was 7 foot, he would be the best player ever. Chess and RNGs can be optimized. Yeah, but no, you can't memorize chess because the game is solvable, but it hasn't been solved yet. The game is theoretically solvable. We just don't have powerful enough machines to solve the game. Mate, if a computer can't solve chess, then a human can't. Because computers are way more wicked smart than people. I mean, again, I've done research on this kind of stuff. I did it for like projects in school. Like the reason why the best chess AI has an ELO rating is because they can be beaten. Like they haven't solved the game. It's theoretically possible for me to beat the best chess AI in the world. Theoretically. Theoretically, it is possible. Because they haven't solved the game yet. Obviously, that's not going to happen in a real tangible example. But for instance, if I play noughts and crosses, I can never be beaten at noughts and crosses. It's impossible for any person or machine to beat me at noughts and crosses. Because you can solve the game trivially. Tic-tac-toe show, whatever you Americans call it.
Barrage.
Half.
What a weird thing to try hard. No, because it literally takes 2 minutes of teaching someone how to not lose at noughts and crosses to not lose at noughts and crosses. The only time you can lose is if you forget. It's a joke how easy it is. I mean, the game's so fucking simple, isn't it? Wow.
Mission.
Nice.
But I think the amount of combinations of a chess game can have is like, it's something crazy, like 2 to the power, I think it's like 10 to the power 10 to the power 8 or something crazy like that. Nah, it's way bigger than 32 trillion. Way bigger. Way more than 32 trillion.
And they say Super League is dead.
Dead. I see one. Dead. Oh shit.
32 trillion is pretty small.
Bueno.
Meteor strike.
But chess will never be solved until we get quantum computing. Then once you get quantum computing, I think it'll be pretty easy. Is it 10 to the 120? It's actually not as big as I thought. It's gonna be very hard to become very good at sport with the Gen 5 makes you great, am I wrong? Well, yeah, I mean, you